ready? We going?
It doesn't arrive till noon.
All right. Meeting now comes to order. First item of business. Welcome of guests, Robert.
I don't want to complain every month, so good job last month.
Put that down in the record, okay? All right. Next is the proposed 5-year capital projects. You want to do that, or Jay, do you want to skip to your?
You want to do the licenses and?
Yeah, would you rather do that?
Yeah, and then that'll give Al time to.
Okay.
To get ready for.
Let's go ahead and do the license,
Okay.
which is item 6.
Item 6. Let me get it down here. Okay. Applications 1480, 1481, and 1482 by the City of Socorro were on the board agenda last month. They were approved by the board. There was a modification of a sentence where they designated that I modified for public use because the original license stated private use only, being that's going to be a public roadway. So we modified that. And we received everything, and engineering recommends these 3 applications.
All right, and that's the only change.
Yes, sir.
So, now listen to me.
All right, yes, sir.
John Berkelback has called me 5 times, 6 times.
Okay,
He wants 2 things. He wants to be sure that these are public roadways. And then when he's granted, when Socorro is granted licenses, he wants those to be specifically assignable to TxDOT. Yes, Socorro's planning to assign them to TxDOT.
all right, is there a problem with that?
No, I'm just telling you.
Okay, you're just telling
The
me.
the only thing is that City of Socorro has contacted us, the city manager. He's requested that they cannot assign the roadway to TxDOT until the roadway is complete.
Okay,
All the construction is done, and they inspect it and accept it. Then at that time, which should be in about a year,
okay,
then they'll pass it on to TxDOT.
okay.
You'll have to come back.
And there's a
There's a
250.
clause already in the
All
contract.
right.
There's a process, an application. There's an
There's a
application.
process for them to assign it, somebody has to come back in front of the board.
And I explained that to Mr. Berkelback.
Mhm.
So he's well aware. They've already looked at the modifications on the license. They've signed them, and I have the license signed here on behalf of the City of Socorro.
Okay,
We're good to go.
all right. Go.
No, I don't know if that's right.
Go, say it. No?
I don't know that that's right.
Well,
In this resolution, I would say that the licenses are for public roadways, and they will permit assignments by Socorro to Texas Department of Transportation.
If approved by the board.
Well, that's the big question.
It is gonna have to go back to the board.
The city's already approved it as is, we're good to go. And we can always do that in a regular future time. We can always bring it back in front of the board.
They've already signed it, okay?
That clause is in the license, that the license is transferable. They need to go through the process that the district requires, which is submit an application. There's a $250 application fee,
all right.
and then we put it on the agenda for consideration by the board.
And they're good with it.
Right.
They've
Okay,
already
so
signed
he
it.
doesn't have a guarantee of being able to sign?
It's, the Socorro's accepted that clause and that they've told you that it's good, they've signed the licenses.
Yeah. We all signed it.
And regardless of what their attorney,
Okay, I'm dealing with their attorney, right, he's called
We're
me
dealing
10
with
or
the
15
applicant.
times.
Yeah, if he'll talk to
It's not the
us,
city manager that has the
Right, but it's
authority.
already been signed
They're good.
by,
No, no.
it's the
no.
lawyer that has the authority. I thought the city manager had the authority.
But the
That's,
decision has to be made by the lawyer, Berkelback.
well, yeah, but the city manager has talked to Berkelback. The city manager explained to me, he says, Chewy, we cannot transfer or to TxDOT that roadway until the construction is completed and we accept it.
and we have to accept it.
And
All I'm telling you is, Berkelback said he wants 2 things. Now, he told you that when you were on the conversation with him the first time.
yes, well,
Okay.
everything's covered on the license.
Well, if the license says he can sign it, there's no sweat.
Yes.
Always that.
And I'm not an advocate for it one way or the other. I'm just reporting to you,
All right,
because I've had so many calls from the guy.
all right. From what I understand, our ducks are lined up.
Yes.
Okay. So I hear a motion.
We good to go? I shall move.
All right, Mike approves. Any seconds? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All right, Jake, next.
Thank you. Application 1753 and 1754 is on behalf of the Housing Authority of the City of El Paso. They have a complex here off Zaragoza, the Kennedy Brothers Estates, that is split by the Jornado Lateral. They are requesting to place a box culvert, one box culvert, 8 foot long, to use for pedestrian access from one complex to the other. They submitted the application and engineering drawings and survey, and all is well. It will not impede on the operation and maintenance of the district. And engineering recommends these two applications for approval.
Okay, in other words, our engineering department's happy. Likes it, okay. Do I hear a motion to approve those applications?
So moved. I abstain.
Mike abstains, you want to show that, Sheriff? Larry approves. Indar, you second?
I'm thinking.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, same sign. Okay, F and G.
We have application 1858 and 1859 by El Paso Water. It is for a 36-inch main potable water line to be constructed about 16,000 linear feet from FM 259 to Borderland Road along Strahan. And they are crossing the Canutillo Lateral at 2 separate locations. And it will be jack and board and in a 54-inch casing. They've submitted all documentation to the district, and engineering recommends these two applications for approval.
Okay,
Any questions?
these are brand new, right?
These are brand new, yes, it's a new project, they're putting a new water line,
Up on the west side.
yes.
Way up on the west. All right, do I hear anybody want to make that motion to approve?
So move.
Indar makes the motion.
Second.
Larry seconds. Mike, are you on this one?
I'm on this one.
All right, all those that approve of that, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Approve of the motion. Anyone opposed, signify by saying aye. All right, motion passed. Number 3, do you guys want to go to the 5-year capital projects?
Sure.
Or do you want to go to the budget, all of that together?
It's all related.
It's all related?
Year one. I think that there was a request, these 5-year projects are difficult to do because the contingencies change with the floods.
Yeah.
I'm doing that. On the project, you guys have a handout. There were some last minute changes to the year one of the 5-year project, which didn't get rolled back into at this time, but we will obviously reflect whatever you guys approve in the 1 year will automatically roll back into the 5-year. Let's see if I can reduce the size a little bit. So I'll go over very quickly, and then we've got as much backup information as you want, and we've met with the executive committee on this, and I guess the previous board, we discussed this briefly, what, a month ago? We had a draft of it at that time. So it's set up trying to capture almost all the capital projects, not capital equipment, capital projects, that's construction projects. And we looked at, on the columns, we looked at annually reoccurring maintenance items. So this came up, it's really Pete's, a lot of this stuff is Pete can elaborate on these reoccurring ones. Some of them are pretty obvious, like turnout replacements. So we do those now, they're already, we do them year by year. The number varies, but we just estimate about how many would in any given year, and we wanted to cover that to show that it was there. And then we have a total cost, which is, these are all rough order of magnitude, very rough order, because there's no need to go into any detailed cost estimates until we get to the point where we're actually, these have been nominated, like what's coming up would be the one-year one, so we'd start doing detailed cost work on. We'll talk about that in a minute. So these, you have to understand, these are just ballpark, roughly ballpark figures, and have a 20% contingency added into them just to adjust for any oversights. So these are the numbers, and that would be, that total cost is trying to reflect what it would cost if we included all of our equipment use and all of our employee hours into it. Sort of like what you would get if you hired a third party to build it. The materials actually covers some rental, some equipment rental, and that's to reflect sort of what's our out-of-pocket. So you won't see the total cost go forward into the budget, you'll just see the materials, because our equipment maintenance, our personnel, our overtime, all of that is itemized under specific parts of the budget, and it's not itemized in the capital project part. So it's just a general thing put in for salaries and things of that nature, and Mary's got the details of how that's all broken out by which departments get so much money on doing it. So reflect, I think the easiest way to look at it is if we had somebody else build it, we'd estimate that the 25 of these would take roughly $125,000, and out of our pocket expenses for equipment rental and or materials and or third-party activities, it would be about $62,000. Again, very rough orders. So we've got basically 6 projects that are capital projects that occur every year, or at least we want to occur every year for the next 5 years. So wasteways, turnouts, drain color replacements, flume replacements, automatic gates, and then the new project, the city drain maintenance program and expense. That one's a reimbursable project, so that one that we have income generated, at least on part of that project, for the part of the drains that are in the city area, city limits. The next major category is main canal lining. I guess as of a couple of days ago, there's a couple of more small projects that would like to be included in this. We'll probably update it. I think what Jay said, that those additional projects are $165,000.
Right, reimbursement.
And they're 100% reimbursable. They didn't get put in. It's found out not yesterday, but other than those minor changes, so we're looking at Riverside, and really going into the detail. Pete's probably the best one to talk about each of these if you have any questions. We got pictures of each of these, we've got maps of them, we've got existing conditions. If you want to look at all that. The first one, Riverside Water Development Board, that's the remnant of the project, so part of that's reimbursable. I think probably the full $98,000 of our out-of-pocket expenses is reimbursable on doing that. We have 700 feet left to that one, so that one's sort of mandatory. We've already committed to the Water Development Board to do that one. That's year one. Then Riverside, from where the Water Development Board project left off, we'll apply for another grant for this. Going down to Partador will be the next reach, big project to finish up lining. Montoya, Maine, Franklin, a lot of Franklin has to do potentially reimbursable. We're negotiating with TxDOT on that one, right? To recover some right-of-way. So through them paying to have the facility improved, and then of course that'll be a license agreement. There's a lot of work to do there, so this is just proposed. We had it down as year one. That's changed now to year 2. Is that correct?
That's correct. TxDOT has pushed that project back because of a water line problem with El Paso Water Utilities. So, and basically that's from Loop 375 to Presa, more or less in front of Palo Real Community Center. And what Jay and I have met with TxDOT and talked to them about the possibilities of concrete lining that section of the canal. Part of it will be placed underground because TxDOT will later come back to us and want to negotiate a turning lane which would take part of our bank and possibly go over our canal. So that's why part of it will be placed underground. But it's a pretty good project for both TxDOT and for us, because we'll be placing that section of the Franklin Canal underground and concrete lining it if it all is acceptable to TxDOT. They'll pay for all the materials and so on. We'll do the work as you all have instructed us to do before. So we're still working that out. That's why it's been moved from year 1 to year 2.
It does look like it will happen, it's just not gonna happen this year.
Right.
The rest of them, we can go in detail, but they're, scheduled from fairly large projects like the Franklin to smaller ones like Wasteway 34. They're all high priority areas that we either have maintenance issues with or bank stability issues or high seepage rates. And so, again, like I said, we've got a whole another presentation that goes in. I'd like to go through it real quick. I'll try to go a little faster now, go through all of these first, and we can come back and go into each one in detail because we have presentations on each. Canal grade clean, that was, we're up, it happens, we do that about every 5 years, so it'd be one time every 5 years for the downtown portion of Franklin. We're really need it done, and we felt that it was a high priority. Canal headings, we have 2 that we've targeted that need to be rebuilt. Eventually, we're sort of Band-Aid, the Tornado Fables Waste Channel. It's a high priority site, and obviously, especially to the Vice President, since all this water goes that way, but it's a critical site. We've been able to stabilize it with a lot of cemented fill, but the whole structure really needs to be removed and replaced. We did put it as year 5, mainly just for workload issues, the higher priorities, but that one could change in a year, right? And become,
Right.
we have to do it year 2 or year 3. We think it's good for another year.
Yeah, it's pretty solid.
And,
Yeah.
So that's good.
Where's that at
I
exactly?
hope we don't have to do it.
Where's it, more or less?
David?
It's
Fabian's right there.
in the middle of Fabian's.
Where are you picking up? I'm just having trouble finding you a little bit out when you say year 5, or y'all got a code up there somewhere?
This is column, it says year up on the top of the handout that we gave.
Second
you.
Under-
Oh,
under
okay,
C?
I got you, under C, all right.
Yeah, so that's the year.
So what I'm looking at on my paper where you say capital grade cleaning, you've only got the Franklin.
Right,
Okay,
we
I
didn't-
got you.
Remember, 3
Canal heading,
or 4 years ago, we did some silt removal from the Franklin Canal right around the zoo area.
yeah,
And we need to go in there again from the heading all the way.
and you're proposing, year 1 would be this coming year, right?
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
This spreadsheet that was in your packet is just year 1.
Okay, so that's what I'm going to.
So canal heading is year 5
Yes.
You didn't put year 5?
for Tornado?
No.
And well, we handed out at the
Yes.
last board, but you didn't.
Yeah,
I thought it was in the packet too.
No, it's just for year 1.
well, I was having a little trouble, for example, if you want to go all the way up to the top, I hate to go backwards like that, but even at the very top there, out where you started off on the wasteways, the figure didn't add up to me.
Well, he put 25, which is 5 per year. So
All right, so
for
that
5
meant a
years,
total,
yes.
25 each at 5,125. But then over there on project, you got 625. Right now, under I, why, instead of 125, you have 625?
Well, there's 25 each per year. Oh, 5 per year, that's right. You're right,
It's
that's
5
wrong.
per year.
So it's like, should be 125?
Right,
Okay. See,
you're right.
your vice president just saved you $500,000.
Well, they're all that way. It's just has to do with the distribution of
Way to go. Okay.
them.
We have pay raise, Art.
Oh,
Yeah, but it's 4,000 of these 25 is 100,000, so it's, and over here it's 5 a year. I guess it's what, I think Pete needs to speak to that more. How many a year were you planning to do?
Well, on the wasteways turnouts, it's just like you said, mentioned earlier, it just depends on what fails. We're usually getting about a total of about 5, of average. An average of about 5. There's some years we might do 3, other years we might do 7.
1 year, so it's
Right.
So that 5 number is a good number to.
So these are the numbers that are on here.
So you'll do 5 either way?
No,
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 just the ones that
the ones that
we
fail.
need replacement.
But 5 we're using as an average number, because there'll be some years that I might do 3, there might be other years that I might do 7 or 8. So 5 is a good middle number.
I think this last year, how many have you done?
On the turnouts, I've done about probably a good 8 of them this year.
And you're gonna average 5, you hope. Okay, I'm understanding a little better here.
There, yeah, it seemed low. But yeah, so in other words, the number was wrong in the quantity column for how many per year.
All right, go ahead. Now, go ahead, Al, sorry.
Anyway, so I guess they've got copies of this that they can hand out to you. I think we gave it out at the last board meeting, right? And I thought it was in the packet because it was on the agenda.
It is in the package.
Well, we don't have all years, like Mary was pointing out. We're basically looking at year 1 on
Year
this.
one.
It should have been in year 1, which we have to discuss at this meeting.
Can you make us
too,
some
which
copies, sir?
Is in the budget. I don't know, they were on the desk when I walked in, so they were on the table.
Yeah, so now this is the package you're looking at. We're looking at this page. We're gonna discuss year 1 first, and then Sharon will make copies of 2, 3, and 4, and 5.
Yeah, well, we're not doing year 1, we were doing the
You're doing
agenda
some-
has down the 5-year capital
Right.
projects, and the budget's year 1.
Correct.
We're just following the agenda, but what do you guys wanna do? Yeah, I don't know why I wasn't put it out in the back, I guess we're just.
Let's discuss one.
Well, no, I think they need to see the big picture, right? It's multi-million.
Did Sharon make some copies, give her?
So here's the 5-year plan then.
Yeah, this is the 5-year plan. Well, you don't have it in front of you, I thought you did, had it in your packet. It was distributed in the last board meeting's packet, I know that, because we talked about it in the last board meeting. And went over, it's changed some since then, anyways, we can do it on the screen, it's sort of a big picture deal, just to show you that there is priorities. Now, the board can move the priorities around, or the priorities will move around somewhat on their own, as Peter and I are talking, if something starts to fail. But, so canal grading, canal heading, check replacements, let's go over the check replacement. These are, again, Pete prioritized these, comes up with them. We've got 5 locations that all of those checks you feel will need replacement within the next 5 years, right?
Right.
So one of them could start failing more rapidly than the others.
And switch it up, yeah.
And switch it up so that they, may change. So the one that that they think's already gonna fail for sure has already failed, is Delphi.
Right. The alfalfa and the drop checks are pretty much gone.
I'm not sure that both of those moved into year 1, and like I
Right.
say, the 5-year didn't get updated because the 1-year plan was what you guys worked on last, but. Pipelines, we got 3 pipelines, some of them are very short, 100 feet. The Ornato is an urbanization issue, is that right?
Correct.
And setting it up. One issue that Robert's brought up is repair and improvement of O&M roads. Obviously, right now, a lot of our roads are accessible, but there's a couple, like for the Hanson, right, that we really, it'll stay inaccessible for a lot longer than the rest of them, even after it stops raining, so you wanted to do some surface improvement on that, because the guys can't get to the check to adjust it, especially in a rainstorm.
Hopefully, we're trying to satisfy a little bit with the telemetry to where at least the man knows what's going on in that site with the telemetry, will advise him, do they need to go in there or not go in there?
Yeah, right now they end up walking in, so.
Yeah.
1.5 mile. So, and then we've got some work at, that's sort of maintenance work at the Riverside, the Wasteway 1, that gets used a lot by Border Patrol too, but on our side. Island Feeder, there's an issue there. And of course the Hanson we just talked about, which is year 1, and then the hole in the wall, Riverside hole in the wall. Those are all access issues that we've ignored. So we've got them set, 4 of those projects scheduled over the next 5 years. Uniform grade control of banks, this came out of the study we did, how many years ago, Chewy? 4 years ago?
4 years ago?
And we hadn't taken formal action on getting that in the budget, so we put it in now. So these are the 5 highest priorities out of that study, and that study was fairly detailed in that it looked at freeboard looked at design grades, it looked at urbanization, it looked at rodent activity, it looked at downstream check control, so it sort of went and looked at everything that affected the probability of a ditch break, and it set these areas as, and some of these spots aren't a contiguous 5,000 feet that needs improvement. You'll have dips where people, for whatever reason, as they were cleaning the canal, they built up one side more than the other side, or they'll have a low spot in it where somebody may have taken some dirt over the years and removed it for whatever reason. So it's basically to get it back uniform so that we got equal freeboard all the way through those reaches. So there's quite a bit of money in that, but it is spread over those years. Telemetry sites, we didn't do a 5-year plan on telemetry sites, we just did a 1-year plan.
Going back, before you move on to the telemetry, I wanted, going back to the banks, Pete has been addressing, as you all well know, those concrete line canals that needed buildup, that we were concerned that maybe damage would be caused to the concrete. We have been working on those. Some of these areas we've also been working on as Pete gets clay, we move it in depending on the areas, like we just did
The Franklin by the Hornell checks.
yeah, the Franklin by the Ornella checks, we just did the last couple of weeks, Pete.
Yes.
We moved how much dirt?
God, must have been a good, probably, 100 tons. It took me about 3 weeks to move it all.
That we got, you know, as developers remove that clay, Pete's done a great job of communicating with them, and Stanley Job calls us and says, hey, you know, we've got this material, do you all need it, do you all want it? And that's where we wind up moving it, and depending on the area where it's at, we try and address the canal banks that need it in that area, where we won't have to drive such a long distance. So we have been looking at some of these, but these areas here, especially on the Franklin, we've got great concerns. Al and Pete and Robert and I have been, and Jay have been looking at these areas, and there are a lot of residents all along there, yes. So it's an issue that we definitely need to address.
Yeah, you can see there's no direct cost in this, there's no material, it's all from donations, or as we can do, just like what Chewy says we would be doing, we set it up to try to deal with all in-house resources, including the materials.
Right.
So that's sort of a contingency. Telemetry sites, these are the ones that we wanted, and they're sort of become more and more of a high priority. Robert, we probably have these on our list for 5 years, haven't we?
Yes, Al, and you know, and a good example would be the Rogers. Last night with the heavy rain and stuff, the Rogers had a power failure, so they shut off, and they're pulling 90 feet. So we had chaos last night with the Riverside. So it doesn't tell us when they cut off. That's the bad thing. With telemetry, hopefully we can stop that and we can react to it a lot faster.
Oh, when the farmers shut down, or
the
water
PNB cut off.
Oh, the Johnson Farmers.
Yeah, they cut off last night, and I keep telling the superintendent, hey, you need to let us know when you cut off. And they have a power failure when it happens. It's sort of like they have to wait 2 hours to reset the computer and the filters to start back up again.
And they have 90 CFS,
Yeah,
and they just dump on you just like that.
just in a minute, and then with all the rain.
They're not supposed to, yeah, that's I guess we discussed that with John Blue, well, I mean, we need to get our telemetry in there so we know it, I agree.
Yeah.
And this morning when I get up.
That's the reason that regulator is,
Right.
they won't do that. And their permit doesn't allow them to do that. I think that they do it out of convenience. It's like,
I didn't know.
it's easier for them to do that than it is for them to not do it, I guess. But, you know, they're supposed to have diesel jet backup to the lift pumps, right?
So what does happen, Robert, when they do that to you? Is there a desagüe right there? Or?
Well, you know,
Which way one?
this morning when I got up, like, I had to take off and get down the levee and open up wasteways, and you can't get on the riverside, it's all muddy, and right now I got all the wasteways open just to bring the system back down,
Wow.
and it got nasty.
What about our automatic opening gates? Whatever happened to all that?
Well, the wasteways are not
They're not
automatic.
gonna set that way.
Some of them are, but that one was the boundaries, they wouldn't put electricity, or we didn't get electricity.
Yeah, Wasteway 1 has electricity, that's the one that,
Yeah, we never put in a controller there for some reason, I don't know. Do you think you need to put one in there?
They're removing.
No, they're taking them out, they're destroying it right now.
yeah, they're redoing.
That's why we didn't do it, so there's no use.
It just, and I think the supervisor just didn't catch it in time, what was going on until this morning, and, you know, but it was the main culture is the PSB cut off, and then the Royal Water came in, and it was just you know, the whole valley last night got hit with the rain. And if you pretty well know, it's muddy down there. But telemetry has helped a great deal. Unfortunately, we can't have it at every check and every wasteway, and that's one of the priorities that we've been doing, and now we've been doing a pretty good job, and Pete, and trying to do that telemetry, and it's helped us a lot.
So these listed right here then are new telemetry sites? That
Yeah.
y'all are proposing,
Yeah,
in addition to the ones we already have?
right.
Okay.
Two of them cameras,
That's a good thing.
cameras are extra, they have to do with,
Security? You
well,
gotta-
security and actually, just like what Robert said, like, well, one of the cameras is supposed to go at partner door to see just what the heck happened, you know? So is it all muddy and everything, you know, just to get a picture every once in a while. I think at this point, you'd probably take a picture every 10 minutes or something, but you can obviously put them in higher speed mode, but I think it's something that we've seen. The main place for this was over at the College Arroyo, where because so much debris, so we could see how much debris is there, which you can't really put an instrument to tell you the amount of debris. And so there's several spots. We haven't really picked all 10 sites yet, but I think that's a project that Chewy felt would be valuable for both security and for flood control.
Right. And along with this, now that we're on it, I do want to tell you that Al has almost completed our emergency alert system that alerts all the supervisors and myself, Al, Jay, Pete, Robert included, and all of Robert's assistants. When a canal or a headgate, you know, when the water level rises to a certain point, over that certain point, then we get an alarm that sends directly into our cell phones. So that's helped tremendously with the potential overtopping of water or ditch breaks or so on. And I want to commend Al for thinking of that and putting that together. It really has come in handy.
What's left to implement on it is there has to be an acknowledgement on the alarms. Right now, there's no they acknowledge Robert and his guys talk over the radio and acknowledge it that way, but there's no formal logging that somebody's received the alarm and is addressing it, so that's the only thing that's left to implement. So they just basically receive a text message, and the supervisor that's in charge sends a text message back saying, I'm on top of it. And so, they did get some alarms from today. We got them at Partador last night on that Jonathan Rogers. So they were alerted to it. So by the time that you get the alarm at Partador, it's already too late.
I can't help but notice you've got your telemetry all year one.
I know, that was what-
I anticipate year 2, 3, 4, 5.
We never got past year one. We just didn't get the rest.
Right.
I think the way the telemetry works with Robert is he's got, these as I said, we've had these on the list for the last 5 years and never got them done, so.
We want to make sure you get them done.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the cameras will play into this. It's something that we've been working on, as you all, since we constructed our building with our dispatch and our monitors there. With those cameras, we'll be able to monitor, the dispatcher will be able to monitor locations and actually zoom in to, say, for instance, Partidor, to check out what the water levels are, or what the head gates are showing, or are we spilling water, are we, what the problems are. So this is another phase of completing our system, upgrading our system, where Robert can actually go in there and check several areas, and if we get those alarms, they'd be able to go to the cameras and zoom in where that alarm is, and instead of having to send somebody drive all the way over there, and eventually, out of our dispatch office, our goal is to be able to control those main head gates also, where Robert could go in there and adjust, or the dispatcher could adjust, or any supervisor could go in there and adjust those head gates.
Yeah, well, Robert and I, we haven't gotten to that level of autonomy because of some safety issues, but, I mean, we got a lot of gates now that you could do that with, and we've chosen not to do it, Robert, because of,
We used to do Wasteway 32, remember?
yeah,
High and low.
high and low, we could do that, but, some of those we do high, two settings in other words, but there's a big protocol issue when you start doing remote setting of head gates, so we usually like to send a guy there to make sure that everything's working, but, cameras will help in that respect, you could allow you more autonomous, so you get at least see a picture of it at dispatch. Lateral canal lining, I'll let Pete talk to that one, that's, I guess, not a real high priority, it's set in year 5, but it's something that needs to be done eventually, but.
Well, but I think we were gonna move that one to year 1 after we remove the one in Alameda, yeah, the Franklin.
One in Alameda.
Right.
Yes, it is that.
Yeah, and this canal here, it's the Isla Lateral, it's very important that we do this canal just for the simple reason that it's urbanized so bad that we have buildings, homes, businesses all along this stretch of the Isla Canal. This goes from Rio Vista, right short of the of Horizon Boulevard, where that shopping center is at. So it goes in between all those homes. If we ever have any type of failure there, it's, I hate to see what's gonna happen.
Yeah, we've got
But
homes on one side, and then we've got businesses on
this is on the other side.
the opposite side. We have a post office there, we have that storage business there, we have a daycare there, both adult and kids. So it's an important area to go ahead and finish out concrete lining. We've done one
We've
side
done
of
from
it.
Horizon
Uh-huh.
all the way up to the 47th.
Right, and we need to do the opposite and then go upstream as far as we
Is
can.
this Shot Creek or is this the more formal laying of forms?
No, this is the Shot Creek.
Shot Creek.
Yeah, everything's pretty much Shot Creek.
So far, it looks better. We don't use that little liner anymore, do we, that rubber liner?
No.
No, it's, most of the ones I put in has pretty much fallen apart, yes.
Yeah, they had about a 3 or 5 year life. We did, I mean, they worked out in an emergency like we had. France about it.
The one below the island feeder?
All right.
Oh, yes.
What, effluent management canals?
That's a canal that we had proposed building 2 years ago between, we call it the Reyes Canal.
Areas
Because it's full of effluent or?
That's so that when we're working on the Riverside Canal, that we can reroute effluent for the American Canal in an old drain that we have that's no longer used. So basically, it's building an earthen ditch. You can see there's no out of district expense, it's just internal. And it'll allow us, when the Riverside goes down or the Franklin goes down, to get it. But, the biggest problem with that is that it's not that much water some days, is it, Robert? Yeah, so, it used to be in the old days, it was a lot, 200 CFS, so it would have really helped us keep wintertime deliveries going. Right now, if you put in Delta and Northwest and Montoya, it's probably 60 CFS at best, or
At best.
at best. And then it has to go down the Riverside, and if it goes down the Riverside, its losses are 55 CFS? So we get half an irrigation, so, hey, but the deal being is that we have other water going through from Bustamante, we can discharge that way too, so we can combine with Bustamante and have about 120 CFS. And whereas before we didn't have enough to make it down Riverside, now we could with the two combined. So it's a project where we seen over the last few years would have been very helpful for wintertime deliveries. But again, we put it off to this one. I assume we didn't move up, right? It's still year 5. Floodgates, and flood monitoring. These are more a combination of either improving the gates or adding river monitoring, not telemetry sites for the internal, for Robert, but more for flood control. So there are telemetry sites, and we moved them out 3 years to year 3. And, you know, some of these we're still discussing, because these were just, as we brainstormed, came up with these, but we, you know, I don't know if anybody realizes that after Corshane, or after below American Dam, I guess that one, we have no river monitoring whatsoever, right? And historically, the boundary had, you know, back in the 70s and the 80s, I don't know when they came out, but we used to have, what, about 3 sites down there.
And then they still have one down there by Esperanza, but they even did away with that one.
Yeah, they did away with that one, so,
Nothing they look.
there's nothing, there's no, we have, once we go to flood stage below there's one right below American Dam, a half mile or so down below American Dam, and that's downtown El Paso at the Narrows. We have nothing until you get to,
And you're talking about the old cables that went across?
no, we're talking, we have no measurement, we have nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
If we wanna know what the river's doing at those points, we have to drive out there and look.
Okay,
So, you know, our goal for that part of the river is to have zero flow.
right.
So
We wanna
that
know-
works pretty well, and you don't have to drive out there very often if there's no flood. It's when there's conditions like this, and we're getting a hurricane moving through, that now we, what do? We call Stanley up and get us a helicopter. That's how we've been doing it.
All the boundaries, they clean the channel.
That's another issue.
Yeah, get them.
We've been working on that.
The only other problem with the boundary is their telemetry system has something we've never been able to resolve, but it has, what, a 90-minute?
2 hours.
2 hours?
2 hour delay.
2 hour delays, and when we're trying to make decisions to evacuate downtown, 2 hours is
It's not
not.
good, no.
Yeah, well, first of all, you get a number, and you don't even know if it's good, because you haven't seen what's gone on for the last 2 hours, so you're questioning the validity of it. If you get a number every 5 minutes, and it starts doing crazy things, like jumping up 5 feet at one time, something's wrong with the telemetry, but, you know, see, by having a continuous record, you can tell a lot of things about what's going on. And we know the travel times and things like that, so we can see if the stuff's working right. But we have nothing down there, and then if we have them put it in, which they probably won't, I think we requested it, and they pay for it, since it's their river. Then we just decided it really wouldn't do us that good with the 2 hour delay.
So given the fact that we don't put that much emphasis on money, because we want it empty, then it really should be, I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's somebody else's problem, make it somebody else's problem. In other words, if the city has a vested interest, because I hear flooding here, should they, I think they're going to share some of the costs?
Yeah, I would.
And making it, hey, it's a problem that,
I
it's
agree.
everybody's problem.
Yeah, it should be paid for by, and we make it publicly available, and they relied heavily on the stuff that we have up the valley, farther up, which we do need for operations and flood. So
Right,
that-
so,
So we were gonna apply for a grant, we went to the Water Development Board on this, and they told us that, you know, that was right after Houston had the big flooding, just, what, 6 months ago or a year ago. And they pretty much said that all their grant money for flood monitoring was gonna go to Houston this time. And so we didn't apply for this, but I think they're gonna redo that flood monitoring grant, at least we anticipate them doing. So Chewy and I envision applying to the Water
but
Development.
why do we have to, I mean, yeah, we can apply for the grant and so forth, because.
Nobody else
It's
can.
something, but nobody else, I mean, I think the city council has a concern also.
We
when
can
it
talk
comes
to
to,
them.
Yeah, and maybe John would want to do a joint
you know, joint
application.
applications. Let them, if we don't have the resources, have them spearhead or whatever. At the end of the day,
We end up being the ones that manage it,
well, we get paid for it
yeah, and if it breaks over, it's gonna break over and damage our facilities. We're the ones that parallel with this. And these are, by the way, all these sites are just sites that we already have. We just put a sensor.
though. Yeah,
in the
you
river.
do a little Band-Aid on it, that $32,000 is not very much money.
No, it's to be able to take, each one of these sites we already have something at, is to add a sensor on the river.
Okay. I'm looking for more sustainability approach to this thing.
Well, we're definitely looking at other people funding it. College Arroyo is the one that we've been complaining about. Why is it our problem? Because they've urbanized that so much, and have so much paving, and continue to add more paving, and don't put any detention in,
Right.
because they're exempt from the detention requirements. And then that just ends up loading on us. Now, we did, the overshoot flume ran big last week, right? And it worked pretty good, right?
It's been working all the season, the border patrol seems to stay on top of it.
So, what'd they ever do with those side gates? They ever fix them, or they just abandoned them?
The flat fees,
Yeah,
they're gonna replace them after this year.
they're the wrong gates.
Right. They're gonna, well, no, they're gonna just reinforce them, they're not gonna change them
Oh,
out.
they're not. Anyways, they, short of some gate, control gates on it, they built an overshoots, which has helped a lot with the college, keep that out of Roberts Canal system. But we still would like to monitor it, you know, because if it overtops, it goes right into your canal and affects the potential breach downstream. So, I don't know, too, you guys thought, I mean, I definitely agree with Miguel, we need to pursue third-party
Yeah.
support.
Our concern would be if that area, the settling basin failed, then nobody would get water until it was fixed. And, you know, that's the water treatment plants and everybody from downtown, this, yeah, farmers.
And it should be part of that stormwater concept that the city's buying into.
Yeah.
that
So-
we're using our-
Yeah, we brought these up,
our
these are,
systems.
every one of these has been brought up so many times for the last 10 years, starting in 2006 and before, and we just get nothing ever gets done on it. And we thought, well, at least we, minimal, we'd like to be able to see what the water level is.